Before we begin tonight's show, we just want to say a few words. We'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the tense and tragic situation currently unfolding between India and Pakistan. In times like these, sport takes the backseat. Our thoughts are with every innocent life affected by the violence, and we stand in unwavering solidarity with the brave men and women of the Indian Armed Forces who risk everything to keep us safe. Their courage, sacrifice, and resilience remind us that freedom comes at a cost that they bear so that we may continue to live, speak, and even talk sport. Tonight, we go ahead with the show, but not without remembering the gravity of what's happening beyond the stadiums. We salute our heroes. Jai Hind. Let's start the show.
Hi guys, you're watching the Monday Night Live podcast with me, Avni Shagdi, on cricket.com's platform, and I have, of course, Akshay Kumar Swami and Nikhil Popat to dissect what's been a tumultuous week in cricket, outside of it, and we'll, of course, talk about all the big headlines which is hitting the sport. The first one, which hits our minds, our hearts, dare I say, is the retirement of Virat Kohli. Yes, Rohit Sharma did retire, which is a double whammy if you look at it from an Indian fan perspective, but there's so much to dive deep into. What lies ahead? The transition time, is it being highlighted and capitalized even more right now with these two bidding adieu to the game? We'll start with our first reactions. Akshay, Nix, first and foremost, good MNL to see you again. How are you feeling this moment in time? And your first reactions. Akshay, I'll start with you.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind of a week, so to say, just the kind of things that have gone down, and with everything we've had to process. I don't even know at this point in time if it's truly sunk in that Virat Kohli has retired from the format he loved. So I do feel it taking a bit of time, but yeah, it was definitely not something I saw coming. I know there was chatter around the fact that apparently Virat Kohli has requested BCCI that he wants to retire and all of it, but deep down, you just want to believe, this is his favorite format. This is the format he plays the sport for. There's no way on earth he'll be leaving it. Unfortunately, wasn't to be the case. He decided to leave, when the world would ask why and why not. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's understood the importance of, letting go of things at the right time and ensuring that Team India is also in a better place going forward. So that's there, of course, but yeah, it's easier said than done because he's leaving a void so huge. It's going to take me a while for sure.
Yeah, the penny might not drop for certain fans watching this. It might not even drop for me right now, but pretty sure it's going to hit us hard when India do tour England in the time to come. Nikhil, let me get your thoughts about this. When 11:46 in the morning, we saw an Instagram post being dropped by Virat, which we'll show you in a bit. But when that hit your screens, Nikhil, what was the emotion? What was the sentiment that you first had in mind?
Not like this. Those are the first words, and I related to those words that he said in that post. It's not easy, but it feels right, and you could kind of relate with those lines because I think that is something that sums up Virat's career. That when he began a rough start and then he has that century in Australia, never easy, but felt right to back him. He has a lull in 2014. Everybody's after him. It's not easy, but it felt right for him to change his game. He changes, has an insane peak, and then again he has a time where you can't believe this is the same Virat. So not easy, but it feels right that he takes the call that I am done with this game. So I think it is very thoughtful. There will be things that will come out in the next few days and hours, and we'll be wondering if he wanted, not wanted. But I will miss the guy's energy. When you grow, after a point of time, you are emotionally attached, but you can feel the vibe of the person. 10 for 2, 50 for 2, 100 for 2, it didn't matter. It was always the same. I'll miss that mad stride in the middle. Dude, I am here and you have to watch me back. So I'll miss that from Virat.
Oh, indeed. And I'm pretty sure everyone watching Monday Night Live or listening is, of course, going to have their own thoughts about Virat Kohli, because it's been one hell of a journey, nearly spanning 15 years, from Sabina Park in June 2011 to Sydney Cricket Ground 2024. It is an enormous, staggering career, especially when you look at what he's done and achieved as a captain, let alone as a batter. There's so much to get into in this Monday Night Live. Let me just, of course, show you guys the menu or give you a little glimpse of what to expect in the next 1.5 hours. We are going to be, of course, talking about just our reactions, the transition time in terms of what next is for Team India, some of the mind-boggling numbers as Virat Kohli as a captain, as a batter. And later on in the show, we'll, of course, be speculating whether the IPL will resume in our country. There are rumors that the governing council is having a meeting right now as we speak. We'll try to get you some insights from there. And later on, we do have a fan special as well. So lock in and, of course, like this video. We're doing it at a time where, of course, like we started the show off, it's not the best time to, of course, talk cricket, but it is what it is. So let me just, of course, resize and recircle in terms of what's happened today. We'll start with an Instagram post that Virat put out. If you guys have been living under a rock, do not fret. Cricket.com is here to save you, and in terms of tell you exactly how it's gone on. Now, Virat Kohli was very, very clear in his stance. And Akshay, I want to come to you on this. He mentioned two words, which me and Vikas also spoke about prior to the show. It's obviously gone up on YouTube, and we're doing a lot of coverage on Virat and cricket right now. But my question to you is, he mentioned two words: it feels right, and he leaves with a smile. Do you think you feel that way as an Indian cricket fan, as an Indian cricket lover?
I would say that, yeah. Especially given how, it's been for him, for the better part of the last 4 years. I can see where he was coming from. I was also important for him, right? Given how he was very clear, the day he feels that he's not being able to give his 110% is the day he would want to leave the cricket field, and it clearly seemed to be the case. Yeah, weighing down on him, especially with him not being in the best of form of late. Of course, the century at in Perth was an excellent knock, but again, apart from that, there was not really much to count on. During the BGT, there was an important series coming up outside India. So, given the whole situation and how everything was shaping up, the start of a new cycle, it did seem right, I would say.
Next, before I get to you, let me just take a few comments because, of course, we've parked them for a while. Chikuji saying hello, good to see you guys. It's been a while. It feels like we've not interacted with you guys, and for understandable reasons. A top message to start the MNL. Look, we want to, of course, align with the nation's emotions right now. Even though it is the darkest day for India in terms of Virat Kohli retiring, it is something that we want to, of course, give you a live and an opportunity to get in touch with us. Yuvraj saying the right time for Kohli to retire. Expand on that, Yuvraj. I mean, do you think after Rohit, it was inevitable that Virat retires? And Sushant also going on to pour his thoughts. Nikhil Parajaya, who we'll see later in the show, also goes on to say this. And Priyanshu Dhawan saying these retirements, man, right calls, but tough to accept. First Ash, then Rohit, now the biggest one in Kohli. I've grown more old in these 6 months than I ever have. And lots more sentiments pouring in. Next, coming back to you right now. When we talk about Virat leaving Indian cricket in better hands going forward, do you think there's an obvious replacement, or do you think it's just a huge void to fill, like Akshay said?
Yeah, I don't think anybody who's that big a stature can, at any point of time, leave it in the right, hoping somebody will come up and take their spot and be themselves. So I think you hope sincerely that there is somebody who will take this mantle. And again, we have to realize and also expect very fairly that you cannot replace Virat. You could not replace Gavaskar. You cannot replace Sachin. You cannot replace Virat. These guys are the best of the lot, and it is not going to be easy to replace them. What you're looking at is, does Jaiswal have it in him to be what he can be at his best for a consistent period of time, maybe a decade or so? So I think that is what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to this as an opportunity to see if India has, and again, I will make a sincere request to not try and find the next Virat. You will never find it. They don't make it anywhere. It's not a machine where you just pour a bit of this and a bit of that and make it. So don't look for that. I'm very into that. Priyanshu Dhawan thought that there is a reason why I kept saying that I have absolutely loathed that New Zealand series loss. There is, I put up a tweet when during that test that this could be the end of it, and it has turned out to be the end of that. That New Zealand home series loss has taken away the golden chunk of Indian cricket just with them. Rohit goes, then Virat, and then you have Ashwin is also going. So do not look for the next guy. just look for and pray for the best guy coming in, and then let's see where things goes, because it's not going to be easy. It will take a while. Even it took even Virat a while. So Test cricket is not easy. So let's give the new guy who comes in that much time.
Yeah, it's words to actually think about because even the thumbnail of this podcast suggests it's transition time and big and bold. And with that big England 5-match series just around the corner, Akshay, it makes you think. And let me play devil's advocate as well. Do you think there were greater powers at play with the selectors kind of being really harsh on Rohit and Virat with their form? And could this have come right after the BGT and not in this kind of moment? Or do you see it otherwise? Because, again, let me just show you that IG post before Akshay has his say. This is what Virat said. I think the telling bits is that he walks away from his Test match career with a smile. Remember, number 269 is what the cap that he was presented with. And it is a hard, hard moment for fans just to think about, let it sink in. But it is the news right now. Akshay, coming back to you, and we'll have, of course, more numbers and stats of Virat highlighted in just a bit. But do you think he could have probably announced this right after the BGT?
Yeah, that's the question, right? Was this a sort of pre-decided move? I would probably say no, but once again, all of this is just speculation at this point in time. We would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when these conversations were happening, but we aren't privy to it. But I do want to believe that if he had made up his mind, boss, he is going to retire. I don't think he would have waited this long. So I'm guessing it is a decision that was taken in the recent past, which is why he said it when he has. I don't think it was a case of him just holding on to it and waiting for time to pass. And I also do think the selectors, the authorities involved would have also played a role in terms of how they are viewing the future, the road ahead for Team India, whether Virat Kohli was a part of the entirety of the WTC cycle, how he himself was placed mentally if he wanted to play every test going forward. It takes a lot out of him also, right? Especially given the fact that he's not getting any younger at 36, turning 37 later this year. I do think that that's also played a role, especially in the case of Rohit Sharma, but to some extent, even in the case of Virat Kohli. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even blame the selectors or whoever, the think tank, the management involved, because उनका भी समझ में आता है. They were clear that they wanted a younger side, a side that would be available consistently throughout the WTC cycle. So it is understandable from that perspective as well, which is why I feel that although the decision hits me hard, I think it was the right move considering the big picture.
Sorry, you are continuing the tradition, Avnish. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm on mute, but I am on mute. But Nix, where do you stand in this? The fact that essentially, when we kind of talk about Virat Kohli's Test career, is it as bad as the 5 years and his numbers that portray in the last 5 years of his career? Or is it because of the last 5 to 6 tests that India have lost with Virat and Rohit there? Is that why the daggers are seriously hanging over his head?
It would be very unfair to just look at those last 5 years and say that, this is. I think it's also recency bias that we always remember what we have last seen of every legend, and then we kind of make a judgmental call that, अच्छा है गया, कैसा खेला था. But that's not how cricket works. And some of the expectations are because he was so good. So we all know that peak. He, from 2016 to 2018, 20 tests, average of around 80 or something in that space, 10 centuries. Those are insane numbers to even contemplate that a guy has a century every 2 tests. So it is those standards that Virat set that meant that whatever followed was always going to be looked at. Oh, can he keep up with this? Of course you can't. Those are superlative efforts, and hence he won that Test Cricketer of the Year. So yes, eventually you feel 46.85. Yeah, could have simply been 56, 58, or even more higher. But then it's just what makes it human. So I think a lot of factors have played a part, whether it is just that prolonged lull that Virat had, whether it is the kind of pitches that India have played on, the kind of struggles that India have had with COVID, and not getting that rhythm that we've always wanted. So again, a mixture of everything. And when you have a home loss, sorry to sound like a broken tape recorder, but a home test loss of 3-0 weighs a lot more on the minds of the players, because you have to realize we are proud of the fact that we can speak about it. They are the ones who set it up. So for them, it will hurt even more. And Ashwin has also spoken about that in his podcast, why it played a role. So a bit of everything, home record, away form. And as Akshay said, maybe today or now is the right time that, yeah, let's look forward now. And clearly he was done that if he's not going to get all games, maybe he wouldn't find this worth going through the drill again, that he comes out, all the pressure, all the attention is on him. Maybe he's a changed man now and he wants that sort of life. Fair on him to ask for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard a interview of Virat Kohli where he said if he's done with the game, he's just going to be done and he's not going to be seen. Obviously, ODI and IPL is still two avenues that we can probably see Virat Kohli. And we will talk about whether Virat Kohli or not merits a farewell test. And that's my next topic of conversation with Akshay and Nikhil. And you guys can let me know in the chat as well. We've seen it with Sachin. We've seen it pretty much with Dada and Kumble, Akshay, where they were, of course, in the cusp of retirement, got their final farewells in a way, not as, of course, well documented as Sachin. But for Virat, where do you stand in that? I know personally, if you ask him, you'd be like, no, I wouldn't want it. But as fans, as a lover of cricket, as an Indian, would you have liked to see Virat get a farewell test?
It would have been nice. Like, I'm sort of in two minds over here because knowing what Virat Kohli did for Test cricket, if there was one player I would have thought, who deserved a farewell test, it would probably be Virat. But in general, I'm not a big fan of it because like at the end of the day, the sport is bigger than the players that make it, and that is always the case. So that's how it is. In fact, that is the beauty of sport. If at the risk of sounding too philosophical, I'm guessing it is kind of poetic that it just shows key sport waits for none. Cricket waits for none. Cricket just keeps moving on. And I guess you just have to take it with a pinch of salt. So I personally can still live with the fact that he did not get a farewell test. But yeah, I would have been fine if he did get one too. But that's a sport.
Nikhil, you echo those thoughts?
I genuinely feel the timing isn't right. I don't think we quite understand the gratitude of Virat Kohli not playing Test cricket. So maybe when it sings on a random 5 o'clock morning, when we are watching Howzzaat Test, and we'll feel, damn, he's not walking out to bat. So otherwise, I completely agree with Akshay that if you ask someone, they'll never want it. So some players they don't like, and Virat has always had that attention on him. So it's not that one game is going to change. Sometimes I do feel we should also, which is why I keep saying, celebrate the players more when they are active and playing. It's a message I've been saying since a year now. Celebrate. You will never know when it will be the last on drive that you see that, damn, dude, what a shot. So ideally, maybe if he played a few games, he could have just said, just after the day's play that, today is my last day. And maybe we would have celebrated the player who brought us so much to the game. But it's just what makes the game what it is, right? That I don't think I can express. I would have loved to see a farewell game, but I don't think the situations around this, the new normal WTC, the 2-year commitment and all of that makes it possible for you to have something like this. Maybe if it wasn't the case that you can play a 2-match series, doesn't count at WTC, whatever happens, we see and all of that, maybe you'll go ahead and do that. But I don't think Virat would have wanted it. So he doesn't ask for it.
Yeah, I particularly agree with you on that point. The fact that I think Virat would have shied away from such a thing. Maybe in ODI cricket, he does get that sojourn to climax with the 2027 World Cup, but only time will tell. We'll just take a couple of comments before we move forward. Good to see Akash in the chat, who's one of our writers. He's put out a lot of Virat articles. Go check it out. He goes on to say, for once, I have to take Virat Kohli's side and say that he single-handedly kept Test cricket afloat and surely motivated people to take the red ball format more seriously. I think, again, that point is obviously well integrated into a lot of cricket fans' minds. Not just that Virat wore his heart on his sleeve. He's willing to lose games to win games, or risk losing games to win games. Fighting fire with fire, the press conferences and the demeanor that he carried out, being India's captain, it almost kind of was colliding well with a nation's image of, if you give it to us, we'll give it back. And Virat was a perfect sort of embodiment of all of that. So Good comment from Akash. Apex saying last 1 week feels nothing short of some kind of mysterious dream. I can't believe this really happened. Mohammad Aran saying this retirement might just kill Test cricket in the long run, unfortunately. And Chandan Rame also saying I would always like to see players announce retire their ground, especially when they have timed the retirement right, but it always doesn't work out. And Doff saying Virat will get serenaded across the country when the IPL restarts. I mean, I can just imagine that. And Cricinfo saying, guys, stop the speculation. I'm sure it's solely Virat's decision. I remember once he said he will take a call in his career when he feels he isn't contributing to the team. I mean, we are speculating as fans, Cricinfo. You can, of course, lay your inputs in the chat. And Kushal Shah also going on to add, out of all cricketers, Virat's impact is far beyond more than mere stats, like runs scored are averaged to an entire generation of people. Kohli was basically Test cricket. Actually, the time that Virat took over, right? Obviously, with MS kind of giving him an indication that he's going to step down in that Australian tour. And for him to not just embrace his debut the way he did with a bat in hand, 115 and 141, the fact that we were chasing 360 odd on day 5, was that the moment you thought, we're seeing something special here? Not just in fitness in the bowling department going on to greater levels, but just the mentality, the mindset, saying, you know what, if there's 350, we're going to go for it, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably put it this way. MS Dhoni to Virat Kohli, the transition was so seamless that at no point in time did we think that there had been a change of guard. It was always almost a given. We had taken it for granted कि हाँ यार कोई नहीं, धोनी नहीं तो अभी कोहली है ना आगे, धोनी जब retire होएगा तो कोहली है अपने पास. And that's what happened. When he took over, of course, we all expected him to take over. He was the next in chain that way. And in terms of course, that mindset change you spoke about, I mean, we cannot sort of understate that. It's just, yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more thankful for him. And like millions of them have said elsewhere and even on our live chat, he made Test cricket fashionable. He made it cool to play Test cricket, to watch Test cricket, to talk about Test cricket. And that's not something we can say about a lot of players in the last decade or so. So, I mean, yeah, man, it's going to be really hard because my mind goes back to the 2017 India-Australia test as well that happened in Bangalore. Had the good fortune of catching it live once again. A test that's considered to be arguably one of the better home tests in the millennium. To have watched that live, to have seen Kohli egg the crowd live, to have seen Umesh Yadav do his thing, Ishant Sharma do his thing when Virat Kohli was sort of talking to the crowd almost telepathically. I mean, that was just stuff of dreams in all fairness. So Virat Kohli, what he did, not just in terms of mindset, he changed Test cricket. You know, just like how Sunil Gavaskar spoke about Kapil Dev changed the sport of cricket, not the game. He changed the sport. I would say Virat Kohli changed the format. It's not one knock, it's not one game we're talking about, just the format as a whole. And that's speaking volumes about the guy.
It does. I mean, when you talk about Virat, the captain, and what he's achieved is incredible. I mean, just honestly, one of the GOATs in terms of test captains. Graham Smith obviously has better numbers. Ponting and Steve Waugh, some would argue, had, of course, better teams. But what Virat did in his 68 matches to win 40, and of course, whether it was home or away, he could have got more accolades along the way. Of course, if the pandemic didn't interrupt, he could have had an England series win as well. So the highest win percentage for a captain at home in test, Virat is right up there, 77.4% in his backyard of India. It just makes you think as well about so many other numbers, which cricket.com has given you access to. Just go check out our website. We've literally fished out all his firsts, all his lasts, his great memories and moments from his stellar career. And it's a storied one. You look at it in 2015, Nikhil, where he got to take over the Indian team in that Sri Lanka away series. And you could see the template that this boy wanted to set out. As a captain, as a leader, his message was clear. The combination of using 6 batters and 5 bowlers. And in the 5 bowlers, he knew that he wanted 2 spinners and 3 quicks who'll bend their back for the country and for him. Was there any particular time in his captaincy career you thought this guy actually is cut from a different cloth?
Yeah, firstly, I was very proud that I was there in 2015 in Sri Lanka when that series happened. So experienced that firsthand. In terms of when you saw the spark, I think the spark was very evident in the Adelaide Test itself, because when you see a team happy to not lose, and when you see a team happy to dream to win, those are two different worlds. And I think Virat showed us the other world only at every point of time, that I'm happy to dare to dream to win, and I'll take whatever it takes to get there. And I would stand for my partners at the other end, and the bowlers. You go back to that partnership that he had with Azim Karani. I can close my eyes, I can visualize this happening, him getting hit on his head, and then what starts. So that is what Virat gave you. Virat gave you energy, Virat gave you the belief that we can win and we will go for the win. It is okay if we lose, we're anyways losing. We would rather go down swinging and have a chance at winning. So I think to me, Australia is probably the best place to just signify the change of intent, so to speak, that okay, we're not a side that's going to worry about how much do we don't lose by and all of that. We are going to try and win. Khatam. Then okay, it needs more bowlers. I'll do that. I'll play more bowlers. It needs more fast bowlers. Okay, let me talk to them. Let's figure a way out to keep them more fit. That's how you make an impact. That's how you bring more people to the game, and that is what is exciting. So yeah, I would put it down to that Australia series. Even imagine that one-off test. It's a one-off test that gave you the signal that what's to follow.
No, indeed. I mean, sometimes I think about it more, and I'm just like, how captains normally do get it wrong on the field in Test cricket at times by letting the motions go through you. It's a grueling format of the game, and 5 days is no joke. Virat had the unique energy and the creativeness about him just to kind of infuel some fire every session, every passage of play, which kind of helped India in the long run. And then the fitness bit, I don't want to go into it. I think we should do a separate Monday Night Live altogether of it. Before I take some more comments, I have to, of course, and there's some really good ones coming through. Apologies, Mohammad Aran, RN, Samit VK, for some good questions that you have, which we'll take in the 12th man segment. Vikas Shukla being cheeky, saying Virat Kohli, that's it. That's my comment. He's gone with the king's crown over there. And of course, it's painful for a lot of Virat fans themselves to see this Monday come true. The question of the night that we're asking tonight on the Monday Night Live, and I want to get, of course, Akshay and Nix's thoughts to kick off this chat. Your favorite Virat Kohli memory in Test. It could be a knock, it could be a passage of play, it could be a match. Akshay, I'll start with you because you, of course, spoke about the 2017 series against Australia at home where Steve Smith has his brain fade, looks at, of course, the pavilion, and Peter Hanscombe's out there. Virat comes charging in to tell Nigel Long, what the hell are they doing? Do you think that series was, in a way, to get into the minds of the Australians, even though he did it 2 years prior to that with a bat in hand down under? And what is your favorite memory? Because there's so many, Akshay.
Man, it's incredibly hard to choose a Virat Kohli memory that way. I will try and sort of pick one, but about what he said, going back to that series once again, there's this one statement that sort of still echoes in my mind. I remember that press conference that happened after the second test, where the brain fade moment and all that you mentioned, where he just said, and again, this is unlike any other Indian skipper for a reason, because the guy just went on air and said, you know what? I thought the Aussies were fair guys, something on those lines, but I think I have to change my opinion on them. I mean, I'm not quoting him verbatim, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but the fact that he had it in him to just call them out for what they did and not just, hide behind a wheel of diplomacy and think, you know what, yeah, this happens, shit happens and all of that. So, yeah, that's something I'll never forget. Yeah, Avnish.
Yeah, because I actually remember that press conference, the 2017 one, which happened in Bangalore here, where he said clearly, I have friends in the Australian cricket team, but they're not my friends anymore. So that was in 2017. But the 2014 one as well, where he gave it back after he got into that whole sort of such, not the middle finger episode, because that happened in his first tour of Australia. The fact that he said, I have no respect for someone who doesn't respect me. And then that's where we all kind of just became dogs with sharp ears and be like, an Indian captain doesn't go on to say these things on record in a press conference, that too down under. And he's battling Nicks, a very hostile Australian media. And in fact, even in England and South Africa, he got questioned, but he always stood tall above any sort of adversity. And what is your memory of Virat? The person, the Test cricketer, the player, the batter?
Yeah, it's difficult to pick one. I'll go with two. First is, of course, the batter, where I think Edgbaston was very, 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 sorry for the very, very, but very, very special. It had context, it had life, it had edges, it had him battling a problem that was right there in front of his eyes, asking him so many questions, and then for him to come over that, it felt personal, that Edgbaston time. And the second memory of Virat, the captain, nothing will top 60 overs of hell. I do not think anything ever will come close to that cinema, that theater. Speaking gives me goosebumps right now, that to have that partnership and then go out there and just say things, and then see everybody says things, but then to say and get it done like that was very, very special. So thank you so much for that. There are plenty more memories. I've seen Virat double and Wankade. Uh, I saw the Sri Lanka Test series as well. Very one accolades, but to me it is those two. One personal battle that he won, and one is this captaincy, which has defined him as the leader of the pack.
Just
Let's
on
see
a
small.
lighter note,
Go on.
from both these, from this test, especially the 60 days of hell, I think the memory that I'll probably take to my grave is beach mein laga hai, beach mein laga hai.
Uh,
Just you could see the animosity in his eyes. You know what? He wants this win badly, and that was cinema. That was absolute cinema. But yeah, that and of course in South Africa, him to only vijay. शाम तक खेलेंगे तो पता है ना क्या हो जाएगा. So again, another
that is
memory
a different segment.
yeah,
That's a different
just
segment.
there. That'll just be stuck in my head.
Yeah, I mean that England test at Lords, you mentioned that part. Even the other one where he kind of goes in to shake hands with James Anderson post match, and it's a firm shake hand, being like, "Yeah, we did you, mate. Accept it," sort of thing. Even the fact that when Shami and Bumrah were absolutely creating carnage in Lords, and you have a picture of Virat in the balcony saying, "Come on, guys, like pale those," and it just made you think how much we like this sport, how much we like this format because of Virat being proactive in bowling changes, his in and out field, his bold declarations. Just the fact that he was able to read the game better than most captains is absolutely something that we can all acknowledge. Akash saying, for me, the biggest thing is Virat Kohli was not afraid of losses, which single-handedly changed the Indian cricket game in the red ball format. I agree with Akash there. Sachin Upadhyay saying, Test cricket loved for many, March 15th to 1877, May 12th. I mean, look, the sport is always bigger. I mean, there have been legends to bid adieu in the past. Sachin comes to mind. There's Lara, there's Dravid, there's AB de Villiers, there's MS. There's tons of legends who'll always walk away from a format. But we shouldn't say that cricket's ended for me. I mean, I know Kohli tragics and Virat Paglus, dare I say, will believe that. But for us, I think cricket is bigger. The iconic moment for me was a VK talking to the stump mic, Corner House DBC, saying that. I think that was in South Africa. South Africa, there's a few to choose from, like Nick said. The one that he told Nandi Berger in a test match that I'll hit you for 30 runs. I can't say the next word. But essentially, all of those shambles, shenanigans, shithousery that Kohli offered as captain, we wore it proud as Indians on our sleeve, right? Because if you give it, you got to take it. And essentially that was his motto. Sanjay also going on to say, one of the best memories for me watching Kohli, the batters, the 235 versus Bangladesh at Uppal, my first ever test game that I watched in the stadium. What a feeling it was. 2017, December 9th, I remember that game. But Akshay, it just brings up a point. And Nick, similar question to you. The man scored 700s. Sorry, 7 double hundreds, may I say, 30 hundreds before I get slandered in the comments. 7 double tons, right, as a captain is no joke. I think that's one record, I think, which will stand the test of time. Which was his best double ton, guys? Because he got only one outside India in North South Antigua. All the 6 coming at home. People pointed Wankhede 2016 or the 254 Pune against South Africa. Akshay, again, first ball to you here. Which is your favorite Kohli double ton in tests?
I mean, my favorite, I'll probably have to pick the one at Wankhede. But again, there's a lot of bias involved. This is where I was at that time. I was arguably one of the only double hundreds that I saw live on TV. Baki sir, because it was during my undergrad. I was invariably during classes. I mean, it happened during classes and stuff. So I would just go and catch the highlights. This was the one sort of moment that I bunked my class for that day with my friends. We all came over to my place and we caught it live. It was again just something that we had taken for granted. I remember not reacting too much. हाँ ठीक है भाई, मतलब कोहली है, बना रहा double hundred, एक और बना लिया. But I remember that feeling, and now in hindsight, I do wonder how much we had taken him for granted. कि हाँ ना, कोहली बना लेगा. ओडिया में सेंचुरी, टेस्ट में डबल, ये तो रोज का उसका वो कर लेगा. So yeah, I'll probably take that knock for myself.
Nikhil, you?
Yeah, my answer is the same. While I enjoyed the West Indies one as well, I think that was very clinical. But yeah, again, देखा था वानखेड़े, तो you always want to feel the one that you've seen live more than anyone else, because that was also the game where I think Ashwin bowled that magic ball to Johnny Bairstow, where he had him carom ball that had him flummoxed LBW. So it's just that one game that is very fixed in the mind.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of double tons, I think because that first one came in the home of Viv Richards and it was his first one of many, I think I would still like that, even though it was not against the best stacks or so on and so forth. Best innings, like Nikhil just said, 149. The 149 definitely, I would say, is for me one of the best innings that he's ever played in a cricket field. I know there were plenty of chances. There was a lot written about him heading into that test series. And the fact that he batted so beautifully with the tail and he elongated India's game time in the match as well with the tailenders and just perfectly sussing it out. Akshay, before we touch upon Rohit Sharma and move on from the Virat Kohli story, now do you see, I don't know how to put this, the fact that how do India really kind of give the other dude, whoever's our next number 4, the long rope, whoever it could be, whether it is a left-handed side Sudarshan or they push KL down or they bring in a new batter, they revive Shreyas Iyer's career, whoever comes in and takes that particular position of Virat, do you think it should be given with a pinch of salt, being like, listen, this is obviously someone who's donned many caps for India. We're not expecting the same, but we're expecting a long rope. So just quickly on that.
Yeah, Dekho, firstly, at least based on whatever is being reported, Shubman Gill is in all likelihood going to be batting at number 4 as Virat Kohli's successor. But he shouldn't be expected to emulate Virat Kohli. That shouldn't be his job. And I hope that the think tank, at the very least, we can't control the average Indian cricket fan out there and tell him or her, you know what, don't have too many expectations or don't put pressure on him. But I hope the think tank has it in them to tell him, ki boss, Virat Kohli was a great. You don't have to go trying to be Virat Kohli. Try and be yourself. Just whatever it is, try and play the game the best way suited to you. And you don't have to mimic or imitate what he's done there. And I hope that also percolates through to the player. I hope Shubman Gill himself also understands and he does not take it upon himself to become the next Virat Kohli, because it's stupid. It is running a fool's errand. You don't have to do that. You are a good player, within yourself. You just have to understand that and play to your strengths. Don't play to the gallery. So that will be my expectations from him or anyone, whoever it is going to be at number 4. And yeah, that I hope will be the case as well.
Nikhil, is it a similar time when Tendulkar retired and maybe there was an obvious replacement then, dare I say 2013? But right now, it's obviously a guessing game. People would like to see 5-6 batters in that slot. So how do you view it?
Yeah, I agree with your thought that it felt a lot more clear to you that, this is the next guy, he'll bat at 4, no problem. But it's just how circumstances have worked out that, again, why I brought the WTC part into the conversation, that earlier you could try things because there was no WTC. Because there is WTC, because there is want to win every game at any cost, you are then forced to just play a certain pool of players who you feel are the best, and you're like, okay, let's keep pushing them. So that's why you do not have a ready replacement for that spot. So as Akshay said, I will just hope that whoever comes there gets a longer rope, gets a clear role, that do not worry, you have an entire cycle to yourself. This is what we expect from you. Go ahead and give your best. That's it. So I don't think there is anyone ready right now. Even you'll see, we have already had a discussion on this, which you will see very soon in terms of who can bat at 4 and why not. So do wait for that as well.
Yeah, I was just going to allude to that. The fact that these boys have come up with their predictions, their forecasts of what it lies ahead for the Test cricket climate for India. That BETUC releases tomorrow. So, of course, all your questions can be given some light shed on that. Asim Hans, you have some good questions, which we'll take in just a bit. Lots of people saying different moments of Virat Kohli's Test career really standing tall in their head. 119 against South Africa and Wanderers comes to mind for cricket. He also goes on to say 105 against New Zealand at the Basin Reserve. And I was just playing devil's advocate. I mean, you look at Kohli's top knocks, right? You mentioned Centurion, Edgbaston, Perth. Those obviously weren't in winning causes. So many people might just say, but it didn't really kind of culminate in a win. But I don't think that should really take the sheen out of any of his performances over there. Introspect saying his Delhi Ranji coach said he was looking forward to the England tour. Don't know what happened. Looks forced, but I had a feeling he'll retire soon after the disastrous last 4 years. And many questions coming in like this from Mohammad Aran, which we will use definitely and diligently in the 12th man segment. Right. Moving on from Virat, because obviously it is tough to move on from Virat for the Indian team and for us on MNL, but we have to, because there was a double headline sort of news coming in through all the cricket networks, with Rohit Sharma also kind of pulling the plug. And many people expected that, given how Rohit did fare in the BGT. And again, boys, to you, when that happened, it wasn't much of a surprise like it has been with the Virat one, but it's understandable why that's been the case. So, Akshay, Rohit Sharma retiring as a test match cricketer. Happy or sad?
I mean, of course, Test cricket Test cricket in particular and cricket in general will be poorer without Rohit Sharma. That goes without saying. We all love what he did there, especially, that peak that he had. Probably not as long as he would have liked, not as long as we would have liked, but it was still something to watch out for. In fact, he was probably one of our only saving graces during the COVID period when it came to Test. So that was there for sure. What was probably a tad bit surprising was the fact that Rohit Sharma himself, about a couple of weeks or a month ago, mentioned that he was looking forward to leading the likes of Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Siraj, and Shami even in England. So it does make you wonder what have been the kind of conversations behind the scenes. So clearly, it wasn't like the players had, decided this a while back. So that does once again leave a bit of a sour aftertaste. You just don't know what's happened. And you want to believe that they have been given the respect that they deserve. Of course, that does not mean you overstay your welcome. That's also not a healthy sign. But it clearly seems like a call that was taken in hurry, not something that was probably entirely thought through and then taken their time. But I'm assuming, given that Ajit Agarkar or Gautam Gambhir, they shared a decent rapport with Rohit Sharma, so it was a decision taken in unison. So that way, I still think that this was a lot more palatable than Virat Kohli. Of course, there might be a bit of bias involved too. But all in all, of course, a career for him to be proud of, but still a career of what ifs.
Oh, Shawaz, well done. You've spoken on mute for Rohit as well. Well done.
This is a problem doing MNL from the office, because sometimes you have to mute it and I forget to mute it, or unmute it rather. But you hit the nail on the head there, Akshay. I think that's the main takeaway from the Rohit Sharma retirement compared to the Virat Kohli retirement, because similar timings, Rohit's retirement is more digestible. And again, I'm not, of course, sounding condescending. I'm not sounding like an anti-Rohit person by any stretch of the imagination, but I generally feel it was always on the cards. The writing was on the wall. Next, my question to you is it again, not the timing is such, but because there's a WTC news cycle starting, new series, that's why do you think they were just like, let's not be sentimental, like now how we normally have been in Indian cricket? Rohit goes and maybe Virat follows.
Yeah, I think that is the only way to think about this, because like I said, for Virat, my initial reaction for Rohit is also the same, like, why like this? Because we all remember the interview that he gave, and he made it very clear that there were no signs that that he wanted to give up Test cricket. So again, as you said, maybe it's a call that they've finally taken, that okay, now because the WTC cycle is done, let's look forward to the next WTC cycle. Are you ready to play for that much amount of time to this format? We'll have to try options. Are you okay with it? Not okay with it? So in a longer term call, it feels fair, and you felt that okay, if that is the line of thought, this felt coming. But I still, as I said in all the episodes leading to this, that I did not see both of them not making it. I felt at least one of them would go, and if you would have asked me, it would always feel that it depended on the BJT. But again, we know how the BJT went. So maybe as long as Akshay said, I only hope that the discussions are fruitful and positive, that this is how we want to go forward and there's a clear plan. Because what I was very disappointed in the BJT was the coach also saying that we are not thinking long term. Why? You are supposed to think long term. You are supposed to think what happens 6 months down the line or 1 year down the line. So if that is the call taken, then well done to both Rohit and Virat. But yeah, again, as I said, Rohit's Test career in itself it could have been so much better. And that is, I don't know how else to put it, because you always, Rohit Sharma is someone that you've always felt, higher, he could have given us something more. He could have given us something more. So that feeling will always be with you that ye aur kar sakta tha acha.
See, the way I look at it, there are two parts to dissect Rohit's Test career. You look at even initially when he came in and he was batting, I think around 5 or 6, and he really took Test cricket like a duck to water. I mean, brilliant numbers early on in those home series against West Indies. Then you look at the second part of his career where he came in as an opener, had a great South Africa innings at home. And then after that, obviously, you think about Rohit, the Test match captain, and it's kind of blackened all his records with the last 2 series, losing 3-0 at home. He'll never be forgiven for that in some quarters. And of course, the BGT being lost as well. But Rohit, the Test match batter, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. And a lot of people in the chat right now, I'm pretty sure Indian cricket fans, Rohit fans, you can't really think of that many great Rohit Test knocks apart from the one that he played against England in Chennai in 2021, Akshay. So, how do you view him as a Test match batter / career that he's had? Forget about all the earlier bits that he was doing and chipping in for the team. The last 6-7 years, how do you remember Rohit's career in Tests?
I feel his second half can also, sort of be divided into two halves. So the latter half, of course, was not really very fruitful for him as a batter, like you guys mentioned. But, when it comes to COVID, there were the knocks, of course, even outside the Chennai one. England, the one that he played in England, I know there might not have been a lot of Big Daddy hundreds and all of that, but just the 50s that he scored there were equally important, in India doing so well or doing as well as they did then. 2-2 is no mean feat. So that definitely counts as something. For some reason, that knock against South Africa, in 2019 comes to mind. Not because of the opposition, just the sheer volume of runs. It's not something we see often enough. We've only seen 3 triple hundreds. So just the fact that he was able to sort of come up with those runs and rack them for fun, both he and Mayank back then. But I would still say 19 to 21, those, 3 calendar years in particular, the guy wreaked havoc and scored runs for fun. So the England series in particular has to be, something that we cannot discount. So if you ask me to point a finger, then it's going to be difficult. But yeah, over 21, of course, like Priyansh also mentions over here, solid ton was not solid knock there. So yeah, like I said earlier, a career to be proud of for sure, but a career of what ifs. You just cannot look past it. Right from him not being able to make his debut in Nagpur 2010 to him then getting his debut in 2013, the way he did that is, and then once again 4 to 5 years of just spending time in the wilderness, not getting enough, game time and all of it. So it was a very weird career for him, but thankfully at least sort of got the opportunity to hold his head up high and say, you know what, I did captain my side. I did lead them in a WTC final. I did my best when it came to red ball cricket, at least for him personally.
One of the last chapters of Rohit's Test match career, Nix, was the England series at home last year in 2024, where, yes, we did absolutely annihilate them after losing the first test in Hyderabad. You could put it down to Rohit's captaincy, maybe obviously the breath of fresh air in that particular dressing room for that series. Do you remind, does he kind of make you think about good things when you think about Rohit, the Test captain? Because obviously leading India in that WTC final, losing it was never going to work well for him. But apart from that, any other massive series you felt, he belongs here as a Test captain?
No, I think the England series takes the cake. And I think it was a very, very special win for India, because what you have to remember is India did not have their best 11 at all times. And for him to then shepherd these garden mein ghumne wale log and ensure that he gets a series win, because we speak about the New Zealand home series. Imagine losing to England at home. It would have felt like daggers after daggers. So, see, the problem with Rohit Sharma, the captain, was you always felt that he did not play enough games as a captain. Also, sometimes we did not help him and his team as a legacy of sorts. So there have been few series where he played entirety and you felt, yes, this is fairly fair and square done. So it was the England series that tested him the lot and the most, and he came out of that with absolute top class results that not only did India win, he played a crucial hand in a couple of games, scoring vital runs. I think what really catches a lot of eye for Rohit Sharma, the test batter, is I personally always felt he was a better test batter when he came in as well. He always was the best. You look at his first class record. They're very good in first class cricket. He always was a better first class batter. But that he was able to adapt and first have a great wide ball career and then move from a guy batting at 5-6 to open and to do so well in that 3 year period where batting generally seemed difficult to do. And then for him to do that opening the batting, I think that is where that respect that we keep saying in Mumbai circles, Manla Bhau, that he, to be the ability to be able to change. And I think he'll rue the fact, to be very honest, that after that England series, he should have just stuck to that mold of batting. I think he was maybe the World Cup and whatever happened, maybe that played in his mind too much that, maybe I can bat this way in Test cricket and it'll work out. It did not, because had it worked out, wow, the ceiling was always high with Rohit, but it did not. And eventually here we are, 8-9 tests after that, figuring if that was the best way to go about it. But again, just sums up Rohit's career. Oh, well done. He's again on mute. Incredible.
Again,
Well done.
I don't understand what's been happening with my mic, but essentially we put out these numbers. We'll reflect them for you once again. The 67 games he represented India as a batter. Good numbers nonetheless. I mean, you can't fault him here. Many people will remind themselves the fact that he's just behind Sehwag in the all-time list for sixes being hit in the longest format of the game. Just to wrap up with Rohit Sharma, we'll just put you on that statement, which he, of course, said earlier last week. Hello, everyone. I would just like to share that I'm retiring from Test cricket. It's been an absolute honor to represent my country in whites. And again, lots of tear emojis, lots of people sad about it, and understandably so. I don't want to ask you all what I asked you all about Virat Kohli and your favorite moment of his in Test. I want to ask you a slightly light-hearted question, and it's for the chat as well. What is Rohit Sharma's funniest memory on field in Test match cricket? Because he's given us some gems on stump mic. He's given us some absolute, energetic, passionate runs to his younger fielders. Jaiswal comes to mind. Kuldeep comes to mind. So, next, you take first ball here. Any funny thing that you think of when you think about Rohit Sharma in Tests?
Of course, I think difficult to look by that England series because it had great set of moments. I remember that one incident. I don't recall if it was Test or Whites, where there was a review going on, and he was like, "Arey, मेरे को क्या दिखा रहा है? Review बताना तू, मेरे पे क्या शक्ल दिखा रहा है?" And that is just classic Rohit. That amazing, man. I mean, it is. See, sometimes, and that's what at times achieving what you want to do does to you, that you eventually become so free that you're just very yourself, very candid. And like, koi bhi garden mein ghumega na, right? You don't say such stuff. And for such stuff to be picked up is silly stuff at times, but yeah.
I mean, Akshay, to you, because I remember the one that he told Jaiswal to literally sit where he's supposed to sit and take those catches. Then obviously asking the boys, I mean, like, we've got these many reviews, should we take it or not? And obviously what he said after that. Anything which comes to mind, any funny bits on the field of Rohit?
Two come. One, I don't know if we can call it exactly on the field. Just him being in the dressing room or balcony, just looking completely disheveled and just aloof. He has no clue what's happening. And it's become a very popular meme. So that comes to mind. And the other is not exactly him. It was more to do with Rishabh Pant. But when he bowled that over and Rishabh just, giving him tips, "Arey, bahut sahi, ye karo, wo karo." And Rohit Sharma saying, "Ha, sir, ji, aur kuch," something on those lines. So that was also very funny, of course. Rohit Sharma, a character beyond, what you could ever imagine. And for someone to be the Indian captain and still have that sense of humor in him, again, kudos to him.
Yeah, a lot of players have, of course, come out in recent times saying Rohit gave them that clarity, even though they weren't playing. Rohit's actually done a really, really good podcast. I would encourage all of you all to watch it, actually. It's with one of our good old friends, Vimal, who's done it in his own show. But just the fact that Rohit could be so unfiltered and candid in that chat makes you think about him, the person, the test cricketer, so on and so forth. A lot of people saying it has to be the Bagpuji Bhag. I mean, I knew that would be the inevitable one. Many people saying the Garden one can't top that. Asim Hunt saying, do we think Rohit read the room that he'd be sacked as a captain and maybe dropped from the England tour and hence announced his retirement to avoid getting his ego hurt, knowing he couldn't return? I don't think it would have played out like that. Surely there would have been some conversations, but again, we can speculate. Just on this question, because it's on the topic of Rohit, boys, what is your consensus on this? Nix, you go first, and then we can probably get Akshay's opinion.
Yeah, see, I don't think you can be sacked mid-tour. That again, any team is not that not of that kind. And again, as you know, Akshay also pointed this out a while back, that all of these guys, Virat, Ashwin, they all have wanted and expressed that they wanted to play, but because it did not quite work out in the scheme of things for the team, they've taken the call. And eventually, isn't that the best way to go about it? That you want to play, but you understand that, okay, the team is thinking differently, or what you are thinking in terms of long run is not what's aligned with the team, then it is best that we stop now rather than be a burden. So I think that's the better way. And that is the only way I feel teams should function. That is the actual selfless way of going about playing for a team.
Okay, let's take a couple of comments then. Krik Shubhendu saying, injury took 15-20 tests away from Rohit Sharma. He had so much to offer, but we didn't get his 100%. AJ Ragnarok saying, 80 plus in Lords and essentially next in the Oval. The best run we've had as an opener in Sena in recent times. I don't want to mention names in the office, but certain people think Murali Vijay is a better cricketer than Rohit Sharma in tests. If you guys agree, you guys can agree. Apex saying Rohit Sharma was tactically very good at home, but very poor overseas, although sample size bahut kam the uska. And Darshan saying, oh God, baseball enthusiasts would have been insufferable if England had won that series in 2024. Priyanshu Dhawan adding in the comments saying Rohit was a very key reason that we reached the WTC final in 2023. If we break it down, you might be right. Freaking awesome. Always good to see you on the Monday Night Live. He's also poured his thoughts saying Rohit and Virat have done the right thing. New Zealand series loss is a black mark in Indian Test cricket history. The BGT2 and its loss wasn't a big blow. At the end of the day, Aussies were expected to bounce back at home. Right. I know there is a bat ball better coming out tomorrow where Rohit is being discussed. Virat's been discussed. The transition time has been discussed with, of course, Nikhil, Akshay and Somesh from Amsterdam. So go join in to the boys tomorrow. Finally, sports fans saying, guys, do you think of any Virat or Rohit had an idea of retirement when they followed BCCI diktat of going back to domestic cricket and played for Delhi and Mumbai as a last first-class match? At least they've gone back to the drawing board and did that, albeit they failed. At least that wasn't something they had to get a monkey off the back, so to speak. So you guys could probably look at it from there. Have Pujara and Rahani posted their retirement notes. Yeah, it is crazy when you think about it, right, Nix?
Imagine the last first-class fixture that Virat played was for Delhi. Some things are beyond your control. So it is just mad. No, it is how sport works. You can't write these things. The diktat comes in, he has to play domestic cricket, and then the last ever time you see Virat in India in a first-class fixture, he's in Delhi for his hometown.
That's true.
Let's just, as Rinku says, God's plan.
It is God's plan. Santosh Urpa saying, who would have thought Virat would be making the call first among the Fab Four? I mean, that's another fascinating subplot which has kept all of us gripped in Test match cricket over the last decade with Smith, Williamson, Kohli and Root. And obviously Kohli bidding adieu in the first out of those four. Shibam Keshri has been playing here saying, will Jadeja also retire from Test? It just makes me think about that image of Virat, Rohit, Ashwin and Jadeja. And Jadeja has withstood all of them. So I don't know if Akshay has to say that. I don't know if Akshay will even kind of play the amount of tests Jadeja does, but that's not be childish about it, Akshay. Anyway, he captained in the last session of the last test in Australia too. We spoke about that. In fact, Vikas mentioned it in the video we put out earlier today. Go check that out. Also some great stuff that we've discussed in that. Kushal Sah saying, but Nikhil bhai, you can write these things. Just ask Jay bhai to come up with a classic Unhone Mana Kab Kiya Hai script.
I know, but there's nothing else to say.
There's nothing else to say. Let's move on. Mohammad Aran saying, any news in the IPL coming out right now? In fact, the Governing Council is having a meeting. We'll try to give you all the breaking updates from that and the best of the rest. And of course, do not ever go away from your screens for the next half an hour or so, because we have a special fan joining us and more things to discuss. Right. Before we move on from all of the particular chats that we want to have about Rohit and Virat, final question to you boys. And I know you guys are going to speak about it and expand on it in Bear Tuck. Tell me who's going to replace Rohit and Virat and your next Indian Test captain. Keep it short and a sentence to back it up, please.
I'll go first. It's going to be hard. I will say KL to open instead of Rohit Sharma, because KL Jaiswal did work in the BGT. And number 4, Shubman Gill, because that's what a lot of people are talking about. So I'm just going to assume that that will be the case. And he will also be the successor to Rohit Sharma as the next Indian skipper. Why? The reason simply being that's exactly what the chatted about. Personally, I wouldn't have Shubman Gill. I would still, I'm in two minds about it. I would personally want Bumrah to be made captain because he deserves it, but I also know he won't be available for every test going forward. So just keeping that in mind, you know what, I want someone who will be available every test for the next cycle at least. I would probably go ahead with someone like Rahul, maybe left field choice Pant, but I wouldn't mind Rahul. Nahi to Bumrah, if he were someone jiske liye fitness issue nahi tha, I would have had him happily. Nahi to just considering that, I would probably go with Rahul, but Gill in all likelihood will be the actual successor.
Okay, so and who will replace Virat 4 then?
Gill to replace Virat at number 4. Number 3, Sai Sudarshan. That's my choice.
Okay, interesting. Nick, where do you disagree or agree in those statements?
No, we've had a good chat, so I'll stay on the same page. I would say Sai. I would not mind Sai opening. I think it's a better spot for him. So Sai opens with Jaiswal. No problem of matchup here. Thank you. Number 4, I'm not quite sure whether Gill should be there. I want him to probably go down, but then if he's the captain, he can't bat at 6. That is just not how Indian cricket works. So maybe Gill then goes to 4, and then Sai opens. And as Akshay said, my captain would also be Bumrah. But short-term arrangement would be KL, but I would really not want to go down that route. Decide for a long-term call, and then give the Gill that freedom for 2 WTC cycles. So yeah, Gill.
Yeah, it's a full house then in terms of all 3 of our agreements, because I exactly was going to say the same thing. The fact that it should be the Bumrah or KL, and if Bumrah doesn't play, KL captains, essentially it should just be in written that KL will be vice captain, Bumrah is captain, and if Bumrah is going to be rested or his workload is going to be managed, then KL steps in. Wide left field call in terms of who should bat at 4 for India, I think it should be Karun Nair. I know many people won't like that. He's 33, still has an average over 60. And I generally feel the experience that he can bring there for the next 3-4 years, just to usher this transition time more, it'll be good. Many people are already saying, oh, Karnataka bias, but it is what it is. You guys can tell me as well. We'll take a couple of comments. Next, just picking the point of how Indian cricket works, do you really think Sai Sudarshan will open? I don't think so. They will go again with the safety option of KL opening. Look, Sai Sudarshan will be in the mix, whether he gets the opening call or doesn't. I'm pretty sure Sai, Padikal's name will be there. Who else? I mean, Somesh mentioned a very interesting right-hander, which I won't give away too much into because you guys will see that in better. But who are the other names? I don't think Patida's really got a chance here. Shreyas Iyer, whether they bring him back in, only time will tell. Whether there'll be promotions, demotions in the batting order, who knows? Pant will never be a certain option at 4. Will Jadeja be an option at 4 after what he's done with CSK? Only time will tell. But look, good to get all your thoughts in. And we'll move on because we are, of course, go on.
Sorry. I have already visualized Sai Sudarshan playing a nice tuck to square leg and then raising his bat to, signal his century. So that visualization is already done. So sorry. I see Sai playing where I don't know. I don't mind him batting at 4 as well, to be very honest with you. It would be a nice exercise to see a left-hander batting at 4 after I don't know how many years, but yeah, I don't mind that as an option as well.
Okay, lots of you guys saying different names in the chat. Sai Sudarshan, Shreyas Iyer, according to Sports Fan. Chandran Ramaya saying Sai and DDP in the mix too. And AJ Ragnarok saying, even after all of this, Abhimanyu Easwaran will probably be ignored. You guys don't hold back. You guys do not hold back. Cricket Info, I'll take all of these kind of questions in the 12th man section. I promised that. And we'll move on because we do have Akshay's quiz. But before that, we have Best of the Rest. Right, best of the rest pretty much revolves around the speculation of the IPL, whether it'll resume, when will it resume, what is the perfect window to have that particular tournament done and dusted with. 16 games remain, 4 playoff games. They're talking about 3 potential cities. There were talks about taking it away to England, taking it away to South Africa, but it's going to be in South India by the looks of it. Akshay, your first thoughts on that? And do you think, even if they pencil in a date, say May 18th, May 19th, the next Monday that is, do you think we can get all the games in and in a timely, effective, not a logistical nightmarish manner?
I do think it's possible. I mean, if I'm just going to talk about it from an operational standpoint, is it feasible? 100%, yeah. There'll be a lot more double headers, I would imagine, just to ensure that the league stage is ended, as soon as possible. And then from there, if I take it further ahead, there's 16 games remaining. Right now, the reports suggest that they'll be played across Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad, including the playoffs and everything. And maybe the final will be hosted by Ahmedabad instead of Kolkata, weather playing a big role there. Given that, I think it is possible. I hope that Ahmedabad is still not considered, simply because that it has been, one of those areas that has sort of been stuck in the crossfire between what's going on. Between India and Pakistan in terms of what's going on right now. So safety standpoints is just sticking to south of India would be perfect. You don't need to risk any security concerns. Overseas players would also be a lot more open to the idea of coming back and playing the IPL. Agar aap से North India jana chahoge, then that you then run the risk of not having all the overseas players returning. You'll have to play with depleted squads and whatnot. So that will just be another sort of mess that you will have to deal with. I do think it's possible. It's just now BCCI has to figure out, of course, in parallel with the Indian government, what the objective is. Is the objective to get done with the IPL in the April-May window? Or is the objective to conduct the IPL in the best manner possible? I think it should be the former, and getting done with it right now is the best way, just so that you get that out of the system ASAP. If you want to push it post, the May-June window, June to India bahar hai. August, I know, opens up because India in all likelihood won't play Bangladesh or the Asia Cup with everything that's going around right now. But there is an England-South Africa series that's scheduled to happen around that time. And I don't think playing an IPL without English players or South African players would make any sense. So given that abhi khatam kar lo, you'll have most of your overseas talent also coming back in. It'll be easier. You'll get done with it, and you can just move on to whatever the next, series or next assignment in the calendar year is.
Okay, just Nikhil, what about the fact that is it good from a country's perspective to have the IPL resumed? Many people would be saying, Kya chal raha hai, yaar? We're obviously fighting our battles out there and we're using cricket again to kind of go through it. How do we kind of disconnect that bit by actually getting the tournament done, dusted with? So obviously national precedence comes first. So do you think that's how the government will look at it, the board will look at it?
Yeah, and that is how you expect them to look at it as well, right? That the nation definitely comes first in terms of whatever rest is not even priority. So, and I think we'll only hear about it once they are very sure that everything is fit and fine for everyone to be part of this. Because again, how it ended is not how we would all have wanted to go that way, in terms of people being evacuated and all of that, because it's not. See, sometimes you have to just prioritize and see what is more important. So, and again, in times like this, it's very easy to go this way or that way. So I'm sure the people in charge will take utmost care that there cannot be anything that is even remotely risky that has to be attempted for the tournament to happen, because eventually the tournament is second precedence. The nation will always come first. So I think they'll wait for that assurance as well. And maybe, as Akshay said, if it is a way to do and get it done by having it in other parts of the country, so be it. I don't think anybody is going to mind it as much, because again, you have to have that context in mind that ideally, yes, you want to play at home and you want this kind of condition, all of that, but that's not in your hand. So I think it's just the signs of times that we have to take it day by day, and that's how we've been in the last 1 week.
Because it is a no-brainer that of course, action will resume with Punjab taking on, who was it that they played? What was the last game of the IPL? Delhi. So, I mean, essentially, obviously, I think that game will just be restarted, not from the 10.1 over mark. I don't know whether they'll actually play out like that or not. The other question, Akshay, is the WTC final hovers large, and obviously Cricket South Africa and Australia making it clear today that Stark, Hazelwood, guys like this might not return to play the IPL. Does that take the sheen away from the tournament? And there is England, West Indies playing a white ball tournament maybe first week of June. So with all those things, do you think world cricket would probably be best if the IPL is in August, September and not just rushed right now just to finish the tournament?
I actually think otherwise, because August, September is not the IPL window, so there are international matches scheduled then, and you are expecting boards to then let go of those matches and expect the players to come back. There's also the 100, by the way. I forgot about the 100. August May, that also happened. So expecting all of these players to come back. CPL will happen, so you will be over. I mean, you can't overlap with other leagues and expect those boards also to be happy. I don't think the West Indies Cricket Board or the England Cricket Board would be happy about the fact that IPL will be competing with the CPL and the 100. So given that, practically speaking, you're better off, even if it means that you might not have a full strength sort of roster for a few of the sites. Just finish it right now so that you get done with it. ताकि बाद में जाके ऐसा ना हो कि कब करें, then you're just trying to negotiate deals, broker deals with everyone. You know what, let's pencil in for this window. You guys don't conduct matches, you guys don't organize tournaments, we'll get. क्यों करना है वो सब? It's a lot of headache. If it's possible, that is, if no security concerns and if they get whatever approval / green light needed, then just get done with it right now.
Okay, let's speak about that right now because AJ Ragnarok jokingly saying I need double headers. He'll mean, like I said, 12 remaining games in the group stages, Akshay, and Nick can add on to this. If you guys had to really chart out the remaining calendar, how would you do it? Would you do 6 double headers? Would you spread it across? And what is the window of opportunity you're looking at? 2 weeks, say 19th May to June 3rd. Akshay, you first, and then Nick can carry on.
भाई करने को तो वही 12 दिन में खत्म हो सकता है. 6 double headers, then another 6 days for the 4 playoff games because there's a break between the eliminator and qualifier 2 and then qualifier 2 and the final. So that's what you have to do, 6 and league. Usually there's a break between the league stage and the start of the playoffs. Remove that rest day, rejig the matches in such a way that the 4 teams competing on the last day of the league stage are 4 teams who are in all likelihood not going to play a part in the remainder of the tournament. Anyway, we have 3 teams that have been eliminated. So उन 3 teams को खिला ही लो बस, खत्म बात. So that could save us a lot more time. So I think in 11 days, if they really want to get it done, they can get done with it. So if the tournament starts on, say, I don't know, this Friday, which is the 16th of May, assuming, because that's what they're saying. So 27, 28 तक तुम खत्म करा सकते हो यार. That way, no one's going to have any issues with it overlapping with international assignments.
Next, I mean, if you look at it, it's going to definitely alter the dynamics. There's no doubt about that. Obviously, certain players and teams are playing in their home grounds. The tournament was shaping up in a 5-horse race, so there is a lot at stake. And the venues with Hyderabad, Chennai, and Bangalore being brought in the equation right now, although Bangalore had 2 home games in their playoff stages remaining, how do they kind of juggle that? Because, again, factors could really decide the league. And do you think it's watchable despite what we've seen in normal IPL and then a frantic end to the IPL? Will we be getting a fair judged winner in the end?
Yeah, I don't think it's straightforward, no, because there is no precedent for it where we've seen something like this happen and you feel that, okay, this is how we look at it. I feel there is more to it than just having 6 double headers. I think that will not do justice because IPL is any which way is very hectic and we've seen how summers have been in this country. So if it is possible to drag, I would want to have just max 2 to 3 double headers and again have them in a place where, because see, the point that I'm trying to make is I don't want people to get injured because they have to play double headers. Because the teams who are qualifying, they would be kicking themselves that just because we had to play double headers meant we had to, stress so much and do a lot more than required. So I would want it to be a bit more spaced. So even if it is, as Akshay said, starting on 16, there is window to push it till June first week. And I'm not saying June 2, 3. I'm saying June 1, June 2 maybe. So there is a place there, but again, I don't know how you can schedule it because the final is on June 11. So you're still saying that June 4, 5 tak bhi you can stretch it by that matter. Again, depending on who makes it to the final, because only those people will be the ones will be eventually playing in that final. So I think they can take their time, firstly get that assurance, and I would not want more than 2 to 3 double headers, because we've seen what happened in that game between GT and I don't remember who, but it was Delhi, I think. Everybody kept falling down because of the heat and the sun. So I would not want any player to get injured just for the sake of double headers.
It's going to be a tough ask with all the stakeholders involved, whether it's the broadcasters, whether it's the players and the teams and the franchises themselves, because all the players have all departed to their respective homes, and now for them to come back in such a short, limited time will take a toll. Let's get a couple of comments, and plenty of them pouring through on this Monday evening. Quickly drop a like, guys, and tell a friend about the Monday Night Live podcast, because we are, like I said last week, the most consistent podcast in terms of the cricket scene right now. Can all play on neutral venues? Foreigners are anyways leaving. The conditions aren't going to be the same, saying Asim Hans. Chandan Ramya asking which team has an edge given the break in doubt of foreign players not returning. Many would say Gujarat, because they've not disbanded. The fact that only Joss Butler and Coetzee have kind of gone away, but Rashid's with them. Most of their players are with them still. Go on, Nix.
It's not only Joss Butler, sorry. That's what I wanted to say for Gujarat. It
But
cannot be
Butler
just...
and Coetzee? Butler and
Yeah,
Coetzee?
but Coetzee is okay. Butler ke bina GT at this point of time, I think it's very, very, very...
Oh, you were stressing upon that. Fair. Completely fair. Santosh Sharma saying it will be double headers every day, but not in the same city. And a lot of you guys
And that's what
wondering
makes it
whether...
tricky, no, bro. Sorry,
Exactly.
that is what makes it tricky. You can't travel and then play in the home. It's very, very taxing, bro.
And no matter how close Chennai, Hyderabad, and Bangalore are, it's
Yeah.
definitely going to take an option. Look, the governing council is having a meeting right now. Even if you Google it, you're not going to get any particular updates. If you guys probably hear this later on in the week, you guys can tell us in the comments, because right now, as we're recording Monday night, 9:25, there's no updates in the resumption of the IPL. If there is, great. And if there isn't, which will happen, let's just wait on it, because I'm the biggest RCB fan. I would love to see Bangalore win the IPL the way it was shaping up, but it wasn't to be. There are other things which take precedence right now. We'll take some of your remaining questions in the 12th man for sure, because we do have more things to bring to you in this Monday Night Live. Darshan quickly asking, is running 7 p.m. games in parallel a viable option, better for players? At least, again, all these small little things, only the BCCI can tell us. And I think Arun Dumal and Rajesh Shukla will be holding a press conference sometime shortly this week. DC without Stark while they're fighting for playoffs. So many subplots, we'll get into it. But right now, it's time for you guys to win big with regards to Akshay's quiz. Right, Akshay, over to you. And I think you've gone for a themed one this time around.
Yeah, 100%. That's all. Like, that's something I have tried to, make a point out of कि थोड़ा theme अगर कुछ मिल जाए तो मजा आ जाए with Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma and the likes retiring. So it's been a lot more easier in trying to find a theme. Last week that wasn't the case, so I still did try to force fit a theme. Connect the below list and identify the missing blanks. Punjab versus Delhi Capitals 2011, then there's a blank. Punjab versus Chennai 2012, Punjab versus Delhi 2013, another blank, and then Punjab versus Lucknow 2025. This was the question asked last week. Of course, the correct answer was that these were Punjab's wins in Dharamshala. They won only 6 games over there. And the two missing blanks are Punjab versus Mumbai 2012 and Punjab versus RCB 2013. Quite a few of you got it right. Unfortunately, like always, there can only be one lucky winner. This time around, the lucky winner is Priyanshu Dhawan. Special mention to Darshan. I know that because we see it much later, the timestamps, nothing are mentioned. I've just gone ahead with Priyanshu because Darshan has won before. So just by that logic, nothing else. So Darshan, hope to see you soon too. But congratulations, Priyanshu. Do get in touch with us on X, and we'd love to have you next week and chat with you too about IPL. Coming to this week's Howzzaat though, very simple. I've got a list of 6 names. All I want is for you guys to connect these 6 names. Alan Hurst, Charlie Barnett, Henry Nichols, Mukaya Antony, Shiv Narayan Chattergoon, and Virat Kohli. Again, I'm pretty sure everyone must be thinking, what on earth could possibly connect Shiv Narayan Chattergoon and Virat Kohli? But clearly there is something that connects them. Very simple, list of 6 names. I want you guys to try and connect these 6 names. Like always, please wait for the live stream to end. Do not key in your answers in the live chat. Please wait for the live stream to end. Enter your answers in the main comment section in order to remain eligible. And let's see who gets it right and join us later on during one of the episodes of M-Minute. So that's that from this week's Howzzaat.
I'm pretty sure none of those guys are captains, so it has to be doing with their batting record, something weird. I mean, Kohli's first stumping happened in 2023, so something along those lines. I don't know. I could guess and help you out.
सोच के गलती से आंसर मत दे देना मेरा बस with Avnish, that's my concern because he just goes for anything. For what it's worth, I don't know if it helps. This question, the idea behind this question struck me when I was out in the street, I mean not streets, in one of the parts of Bangalore for a run. I was trying to figure कि भाई Howzzaat के लिए क्या सवाल दूं because all the records have been spoken about. Finally, I found one. So let's see if anyone gets it.
It's compelling that you were thinking about Sunara and Chattagoon when you were doing your runs. But look, it is what it is. It's a good question. It's something for you guys to just chuck on and comment below, of course, when the show is done. AJ Ragnarok saying, I never heard those names before. It makes it all the more difficult. And if you guys stand a chance to win it, you guys can win it. Right, with time to move on with the 12th man segment. I've been enjoying this throughout MNL, but even more so in the last couple of podcasts because we've actually been interacting with fans through the screen. We first saw, of course, Chandan Ramaya, and then we got Noodle Hacks with Vasant. And this time we're going to be getting another special guest on in terms of this man, Nikul Parajia. Let's get him on in the next segment, the 12th man. Let's go. Right, there he is. There he is. Essentially what we wanted to see. Nikul, thank you so much for your time. I know you've been a long follower of cricket.com. First and foremost, how are you on this Monday, Nikul?
Health wise, I am fine. Mental health wise, I am not fine. So yeah, I mean, like worst of the Monday in recent 2-3 years. I mean, anyways, in corporate life, there is Monday blues on Monday morning, and so like same as I was on Instagram and I just opened the feed and I got the a post from Virat, like I saw the post from Virat Kohli, and just in seconds after he posted. So I mean I was shocked, and also the team members in the office, but yeah, I mean it's that kind of a day actually.
Nikul, I mean, did you expect the retirement right after the BGT last year? Because obviously Indian fans were down and understandably so, conceding the BGT to the Aussies. But the two stories which came out of that, or maybe three if you'd like to add Ashwin's retirement as well, is Rohit's retirement on the card. And with Virat also being dragged into that thing, it was always around the corner. Did you think it was the right time right now in the midst of the IPL? Obviously, the country going through its own sort of period. How do you kind of absorb this news? Because you just shed light on it. But right now, when the dust settles, do you think you'd be fine? ठीक है, होता है.
I mean, with Rohit's retirement, yeah, I mean, I was thinking in the BGT only that he would retire after the BGT itself. With Virat's announcement today, I'm not still able to sink that thought in because I still feel that he has Test cricket left in him still. Like all that said that he's getting out on the same pattern like in recent times, but still I think because like in Indian pitches as well, I mean uh, after COVID we saw that he's struggling with against spin as well, but still the fan inside me still feels that it was not time for Virat yet to retire. But yeah, I mean after BGT I like as you know, when he played the Ranji match, I thought that now he has played Ranji match, he's serious about the next WTC cycle, right? So that's why it is more shocking that he announced it, in these times.
Okay, I'll let Akshay next get some questions over to you, and I'm pretty sure you want to ask us a few as well. But we always do this with the fans, and the two fans we've had before, I asked them similar questions, and I'll ask you the similar question. When did you start watching cricket? What made you fall in love with the sport? And who's your past favorite or your current favorite player of all time?
Yeah, so I don't remember the exact time of starting, to start watching cricket, but like watching cricket live, the first in my memories, the first match watching live is India versus Bermuda in 2007 World Cup. So I still remember that catch from that. I mean, if I remember correctly,
Win, win,
Dwayne something.
win level. Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember that catch in slip from him. So yeah, that is the first match. I remember that I watched live. After that, I like the whole 2007 T20 World Cup. I have watched live. So like from that onwards, I started watching cricket. On daily basis. In between, when I ended up in hostel for studies. That time I couldn't watch all the matches live, but like I'm following cricket. Like, so when I was in hostel as well, I used to follow the like all the stats and all those things in the newspapers, and I used to cut down the like interesting stats and all those things, interesting news from the cricket and all those things. So I continued following cricket in that way. uh, but yeah, I mean, uh, before I was not that much interested in watching test cricket as much, as like I haven't watched Sachin's prime in test cricket. So like after 2010-11, I have started watching test cricket, that like taking it seriously. And when Virat took the captaincy, and the change happened in the mindset of the team, that we need four fast bowlers. And I mean, uh, like then after I started enjoying bowling of Indian team in the test cricket, right? Before that, I was watching cricket for betting only in the test. Like I used to watch, yeah, Virat is playing, Rohit is playing, MS is playing. So yeah, I mean, like the trio of Bumrah, Sami, and Ishant. I mean, uh, like like after Virat took the captaincy, I really enjoyed the bowling, the fast bowling in particular, of Indian team. So yeah, these are some insights of my career in watching cricket.
That's amazing. I mean, it's very honest, and I like the fact that you've admitted that you didn't watch the bowlers in the past, but maybe because of Virat and that pace battery that he grew out. Akshay, over to you, and then Nick's also. You can have a question to Nicole. It just makes you think, because all the guys who pop on to cricket.com, Monday Night Live, at least the two or three of them, Akshay, have been very smart guys to get your quiz cracked. So first thought on that, and whatever you have to throw to Nickel today.
No, firstly, congrats on that, Nicole. And no, I mean, answering my question, I don't think is the metric for that. But in general, what I've seen, our audience in general have just been, I mean, they've just been phenomenal in terms of not just watching cricket, but also knowing their stuff. It's one thing to watch cricket. There's so many people who watch cricket, but to know certain specifics, I mean, kudos to them. Like, we do this for work. We're at least being paid to do this. To be able to do this as fans of the sport is a different thing altogether. So great on you, of course, good on you, because it's thanks to viewers like you that we are also motivated कि यार चलो यार आज ये अपन मतलब अच्छे से प्रिपेयर होके आते, ऐसा ना हो कि भाई हम कुछ बकवास बोल रहे और गलत बोल रहे. So good on you guys. Yeah, simple सवाल है. First of all, I think we are of the similar age bracket, because in terms of when I started watching cricket, when did I get into test cricket, थोड़ा ऐसा मिलता जुलता है वहाँ पे भी. But abhi, now that Virat Kohli has retired, who do you think should replace him in the middle order? And of course, same is the case with Rohit Sharma. Who are the two new names you're looking forward to going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to you guys chatting on that. So I mean, I kind of agree with you all guys. I think Rahul should open with Jaiswal, and at four, I think Subman is better placed at four, and someone like Sai Sudarshan should be at number three, because right now, as Rohit and Virat have retired, we have the time to we have the time to give any player a longer rope at any number, so they can settle in at that place. And I think Sai is like top of that list right now, who needs to be given that chance of a longer rope at at the same number, in Test cricket. So I think Shai should be at 3 and Subman at 4, and maybe if we can have some place for Shreyas Iyer back in the Test team. I mean, I would like to see him back. After that, after seeing that he has worked on his weaknesses in batting against short ball and all those things. So I think he should be given one chance back in Test cricket. So yeah, I mean, I would like to see him back in middle order in Test cricket as well.
And interesting choice there from Nikul. Nix, what do you have for a fellow Nix?
Jayani, firstly, great to see you. Good to share space with people who love the sport. I have a very CDC related question. Again, this is not planted. Your first memory of watching anything on cricket.com, and what is it that makes you feel after any event that, I want to go and hear what they say? What makes you watch the MNL, or what makes you कि नहीं इनका बात तो सुनने का, भले whatever it is, you may agree, you may disagree, but what is it that makes you feel can I want to hear them?
Yeah, so the first memory is, I think it would be MNL only. Like which MNL I don't remember, but I have been following like since I'd say 2-3 months majorly. So yeah, I mean majorly I follow MNL, and also I follow the other teams as well. So the interesting thing is, I like when I listen to you guys is like I relate to the conversation. Let's say, so I like from childhood, I am the person who likes to talk about cricket, right? Not just normal things, but some interesting stats, some interesting facts, some interesting opinions about cricket, right? So whenever I am with my cousins and all those things, we talk cricket like 3-4 hours continuously. We talk about cricket, some interesting things, what is happening, why they are doing this, why they are doing that, and all those things. So when I like when I watched couple of MNL episodes, I felt like, yeah, like this things I like to hear about cricket, right? I want to be part of this discussions of cricket. So that way I like I enjoyed that part. And also some I would like to special mention this. I really like some of your opinions and analysis, Nikhil bhai. I mean, like like I used to love CSK as a team. Like till Suresh Raina was there with CSK, I used to really like.
Sorry, I like how everybody is. I like CSK till. I like CSK till.
Yeah, like I mean, then I shifted to GT. As you know, I am from Gujarat, so that biasness is there. And also like I used to like Ashish Nehra as a cricketer. Uh, after that interview he has given on that Breakfast with Champions. I mean, I started following him as like fully, like I want to see what this man is doing. So like then after I shifted to GT, and yeah, I mean I used to I used to love CSK because like they are and also GT. I mean I see some kind of similarity in GT with CSK. So yeah, like that process I am fan of. And yeah, I mean, and yeah, as I mentioned, I really like your analysis on like on cricketers and on teams as well. So yeah, that's it.
Wait, you mentioned Nehra there, Nikul. Let me throw you a quick one. Whether it's a googly or bouncer, you can tell us. Right now, would you take Ashish Nehra as Indian coach? Right now.
Yeah, anytime.
I was expecting a yes, for sure, because a lot of people have made their own thing about Gambhir, but it's good to see that you actually like an Indian cricketer, which is not the obvious one, but for whatever reasons.
Yeah, I mean the one reason is I really like this part of this kind of football coaching. I would say like he's involved. I mean I as I said, I really like watching India bowl in Test, like with this fast bowling. I really like watch Gujarat bowling. I mean like there is every time there is happening something. I mean like it on every over there is something. it's like not nothing is static in in whole match. So that's why I love Asis Nehra. So yeah, I mean, and also I mean watching GT in Narendra Modi Stadium, it's a different feeling. I mean, I would say like I wouldn't thought like like मैंने सोचा नहीं था कि इतने टाइम में जीटी का इतना बड़ा फैन बेस हो जाएगा. I mean, in here in Ahmedabad, it's crazy. It's crazy when GT playing, GT plays in Narendra Modi Stadium. I mean, I'm loving this.
Last one from me, and I'm presuming all of us here at cricket.com, Nicole. Obviously, the IPL has been suspended, but if it does resume, and if it resumes quickly, like we were debating earlier in the show, one winner. Is it the obvious GT that you'd want to see win the second title in its history?
Yeah, I mean, first winner for me should be GT. But if not GT, I would like RCB to win. I mean, after after today, I mean, now I want 50, like, now I am in 50-50. Like I want RCB to win as well for Virat. Like I mean, like that would heal some part of me after today. So yeah.
Okay, let's see what lies ahead. Of course, there's so much to unfold. But Nikhil, look, thank you so much for your time. You've got to spend some time with us on screen. Thanks to your brilliance answering Akshay's Howzzaat. And if you guys think you guys can do what Nikhil's done and join us in the next week or the week after that in MNL, get your answers cracking about Howzzaat, and then we'll contact you and we'll make a show out of it. Nikhil, thank you so much for joining us in this evening.
Thank you, guys.
All the best with everything that you do, and keep following us at cricket.com and share this podcast to many friends of yours.
Sure. Thank you. Bye.
Super. Well done, man. It's always good to interact with people. We've made it a possibility throughout in our MNL, and we want to continue doing so. Right. That was a man that we got in 12th man, but we have plenty of men, boys, girls in the chat with regards to their questions, which we've kept all day, or rather all podcasts from you all. So let me just throw a couple and give them to Akshay, Nix, and me. Yuvraj saying, which of the overseas players are likely to pull out and which teams will majorly suffer because of it? Now, we just touched upon it, Akshay, when we were discussing the IPL bit, but over to you here. Any particular team which strikes out in terms of, oh shit, they could be having a real problem with the less turnaround time?
I mean, I'm hoping that my right smile gives it away. RCB definitely will be the side most affected by it. Hazelwood missing out would be a massive loss and a massive shot in the arm for opposition, especially given that now this is the race to the playoffs. This is the final stage of the tournament. It's not like you've got enough time coming in. So yeah, I would imagine RCB would be one of those sides massively affected by it. Even more so given that Devdutt Padikkal is no longer going to be available. Rajat Patidar was not supposed to play the game against Lucknow. Jitesh Sharma had been made captain for that game. So we don't know the extent of his injury, so if he's going to be available or not. Krunal Pandya himself wasn't fit apparently. So it's a lot of injuries there at the RCB dressing room. So they will have to sort that out. Given that, I would imagine RCB would be the worst place. DC would also, massively miss Mitchell Starc. Might not be as much as, say, RCB Hazelwood, but that still would be a huge loss. He was their spearhead. He comes in with that experience. On top of that, he is also someone, known to be able to do well when it comes to the playoffs and all of it. So, given that, I'm guessing DC would also miss him. Apart from that, he can. जो भी playoff contenders हैं, उनमें से मेरे को ज़्यादा याद नहीं आता. Because sure, Pat Cummins might be missed by SRH, but ठीक है ना, अभी tournament खत्म हो गया, so it doesn't really matter much. So I would imagine these two teams would really be hurting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm guessing
I'll just add JT. I'll add JT because if Butler doesn't turn up, JT, forget Hazelwood, forget Starc. That is half
but
of your batting.
But you think Butler won't turn up? Like genuinely
No, I'm
like
not saying. No, I don't know. That the point is at this point of time we don't know. See, if it doesn't, so for Hazelwood we definitely know that there's a shoulder niggle, and for Starc we know that is not going to come. But if Butler is not coming, that is half of JT's batting gone. So that is, I think in terms of order, I'll put GT1, RCB2, and DC3.
Okay, you guys can let me know the thoughts and fair points from the lads. Can we just play playoffs only? Asking Neil Patel. It doesn't work like that, bro. It doesn't work like that, indeed.
Can we just, based on whatever is the current standing, सीधा final खिलौना playoffs भी क्यों चाहिए?
नहीं तो फिर ऐसे तो मैं बोलेगा whoever won the last game that was played out, give them the trophy. ऐसा थोड़ी हो सकता.
Oh, अच्छा CSK जीता क्या?
Sounds-
Unbelievable. Anyway, Asim has one. Nick, you take this. He asks, do we think Bumrah will be unfairly overlooked for captaincy owing to injury reasons, which, if we remember, was due to the mismanagement from Rohit during the BGT, and he overbowled him, bowling 50 plus overs. What are your thoughts?
See, I can understand where he's coming from, but the point is, when you have something like a Boomerang, it is always going to be a temptation for anybody, even himself, that I need to bowl. I need to be breaking this partnership. So it is something that he'll have to take a call if he becomes a captain, like how we did with Australia. That you sometimes see bowling captains either underuse them or overuse them. That balance with Bumrah cannot be haywire. It has to be spot on, because at this point of time, if you ask me, who do you need more, Bumrah the bowler or Bumrah the captain? It will always be Bumrah the bowler. So I think that is where my priorities lie. That I would always want Bumrah the bowler for more games as opposed to Bumrah the captain. And if he's playing, he can anyways be your Zaid Khan. He can be your bowling captain. So that is the reason why I sometimes feel that nahi bhi dega usko, so it is okay, because there are things that you want to take care of him.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I mean, it's that word that Nick uses a lot, usage, and I want to see how India use Bumrah, whether it's a captain or as a bowler, overseas and at home. Chandran Ramaya had this one for us saying, 12th man question, how much has VK's retirement impacted you guys, especially Abneesh, not as analyst, but as a fan? Again, like I admitted earlier in the show, it's not really sunk in. It will hit me probably closer to that England tour, especially when I look at that team sheet with Virat's name not being there. Of course, so many experienced cricketers have left the Indian Test team in the last 2, 3 years, 4 years maybe, and you think there could be more on the horizon with Shami, Jadeja, maybe. Again, speculation. Mohammad Aran, I don't know if you're being serious with this question. Pujara 3 could be fun asking Mohammad Aran. Cricket for saying, Avnish, is that even a doubt after Kohli and Rohit retiring? Shreyas will definitely be in the playing 11. Akshay, I'll give that to you. Where's Shreyas Iyer in this whole test match puzzle? Is he even a piece, part of the table, or is he going to be brought in randomly from the wilderness?
He will be a part of the discussions, no doubt. But oh my goodness, man, it's hard. Like I would love to have him, but किसके बदले भाई? अंदर लाना चाहते लेकिन बाहर किसको कर लो? Had Shubman Gill not been a short contender for India captaincy, then I wouldn't mind Shreyas Iyer in place of Shubman Gill. Should he have had a bad tour of England? But abhi to yaar, Sai Sudarshan has to be given a chance. There's no way on earth I would pick Shreyas over Sai Sudarshan right now. And once Sai comes in, बाकी जगह का है यार, वो टॉप 6 पूरा पैक्ड है. पंत को निकाल नहीं सकते, राहुल को निकाल नहीं सकते, जायसवाल को निकाल नहीं सकते, गिल को निकाल नहीं सकते, तो फिर बचा कौन फिर? So Iyer right now can't be making the 11, unfortunately, but sure, if they decide to pick him in the squad and hold on to just in the vicinity of the Indian setup, happy to see that.
Okay. Tanmay Saini has this one, Nikhil. He's asking us this evening, I have only one question. Who will be the next one dependable batter on which Indian cricket will depend on in Test cricket?
Jaiswal. Straightforward,
Jaiswal.
no doubts. Jai Mata, he'll be fine. Sorry, दो डबल टर्न हो गया already, right? जायसवाल का.
He got one against England at home. And did he get one? Did he just get a BGT 100?
100 Bangladesh के सामने उसने.
So I think he's the only guy who'll come close to the 7 double tens that Virat Kohli has scored.
Okay, interesting. Akshay, any quick names from you?
I will just take a punt and say Sai Sudarshan.
Okay. I think it'll be KL because I think KL will still give you 5 to 6 years in tests, and it's going to be a huge time for KL and their fans in the next bit or so. Next, I have one more from you from Introspect, but before I go to that, Asim Hans had one for Akshay earlier, saying, Akshay, you were against someone else taking Virat's place for the England tour since you felt the replacement would be dropped instantly in case they had a poor tour. Now, this will happen naturally. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that is true, man. That is true, which is why, like, I will still stand by even when I say that, this is the right call for Virat Kohli. I'm talking about it from Virat Kohli's standpoint. From the Indian team standpoint, I will still stand by it and say it is unfortunately going to be baptism by fire for the likes of Sai Sudarshan. He's going to make his debut in England. It's not easy, bhai. The last time we saw Indians doing well on debut in England, we produced legends. Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly. So it's not going to be easy. I hope that he does do well. But he can, personally, for Virat Kohli, I hope that he is happy, and that's all that matters, because there's only so much or so many times that you can keep the team ahead of you. At the end of the day, you also have to take yourself into the picture and see where you are placed and all of it. तो ठीक है, समझ में आता है.
Introspecting Nikhil Bhai, it was not so certain. I don't know what he's talking about exactly, but next, hope you can connect the dots here. He goes on to say, I vividly remember a couple of experts advocating for Rahane or Rohit to bat at 4 when Sachin retired, but MST backed his instinct and we got Kohli at 4. Do you remember where he picked off?
Nikhil Bhai, when you spoke about Sachin to Kohli, the transition in 2013. So this, if I'm not wrong, is a comment in that regard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, it is way long back, and sometimes we'll have to take that some of these calls. The two people that we are discussing, that captain has played a fine role in terms of having that guy in the system that he promoted Rohit up to opening in white, and things changed with MS and Virat. I think the good thing that happened was the transition, because I do not remember any other transition, as Akshay pointed out earlier, being as smooth that you could hardly see things change. It almost felt like, routine. ठीक है, ये नहीं है, ये है. So again, credit to both the individuals in picture there.
Dhruv Mitra saying Virat Rohit retires will impact an England series. It will. It'll have some effect, some bearing on the side for sure. Corners DBC saying, do you think he played for Delhi to have his last game in India? That's what Nick's mentioned. The fact that all these things can't be scripted. No one would have thought his last red ball game in his career would be for Delhi and not for India, which is incredible. What the other questions that we had? What's been your favorite test knock of Virat ever? We discussed that earlier in the show. And there was another one which had, I think, a question coming from, who was it?
Till the time you find the question, I think the one time when I'll also miss Virat the most is when 10 people are celebrating a wicket and one guy is running around the field just happy.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It will sink then.
Yeah, for sure. I think the fact that he was one of those cricketers who actually celebrated more than the bowler whenever he got a team got a wicket. Apex going on to say the only good thing that happened from these recent retirements is that new players will get more chances, and if they fail, they will not be criticized. And finally, Sanjay had one, but I'll take this one from Sanjay. It's a better one. If KL keeps his trend of starting the tour well and fading away, how long can India afford that now? I think KL will also be much more layered in this final part of his test career. I know he has about 5 to 6 years, but it's almost like the baton's being passed to the likes of him, the likes of others in that team who have about a little bit experience, not obviously all of it, but it'll be an interesting testing time for KL, I think. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, guys, really quickly? Nikhil, you're a big KL fan. I think he will actually, again, be the crisis man with even more responsibility and accountability.
Yeah, he will be. I'm very sure of that. But what I will want is consistent scores, because I don't think him or the team can afford him tapering off at any point of time. I'm okay if 100 becomes an 80 or 100 becomes a 60, but I cannot see a 60 becoming a 30 or a 50 becoming a 25 of sorts. So I think that time is long gone, and this is the time where KL will have to just start to own up and dominate. And by dominate, I'm not saying score 150s, 200s. Play the role that team is asking you to. And I hope him and the team are on the same page that this is the role and one role by. I think the time is gone for him to bat everywhere. Just dictate dictate in terms of dictate the role that, okay, this is the role coach and the management have for me. This is the spot, I'll do this only and my best. Khatam. Uske baad then take a call, because sometimes it doesn't help. You're batting at 3, you're opening, you're 6. You are not contributing in every position, which is understandable, but then it doesn't help you or the team as well. So hopefully one spot, one role, and one good run.
Agreed. We'll have a last question, is what my producer tells me. So let's just wrap up MNL. And it is kind of symbolic that it comes from Virat Rohit lens. It comes from one of the most biggest fans that we have, with Santosh Oduppa asking us, had India qualified to the WTC finals, Akshay and Nix, would Rohit and Virat announced it prior, given their final go in that game before retirement? I think absolutely. If India somehow, by hook or crook, managed to get into the WTC final, I think they would have used that as just whatever happens, que sera sera. So like how they went out in the T20 World Cup final. Similar lines. Do you agree, Akshay?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I just draw parallels over here with MS Dhoni's retirement. COVID played a massive role in MS Dhoni retiring when he did. I genuinely think that he had probably aimed for the 2020 T20 World Cup, which was what it was supposed to be. His last swan song wasn't to be the case. And similarly, with the whole situation that's happened since the last Thursday of sorts, basically ever since IPL had been called off, that's when the conversations happened properly. I don't think abhi IPL ke beech mein had IPL been going on just as it was last week, then the selectors, the think tank would have had these conversations just as keenly with the players. They would have let the IPL to go on as scheduled, and then IPL ke baad thoda dekhne types. And these two would have still featured in the series in some shape or form. I do think this pause has played a role in it. Agar pause nahi hua hota, तो आईपीएल चल रहा होता, टीम बनी होती, सेलेक्ट हो चुकी होती, बिकॉज ऑप्शन नहीं अभी कुछ और. I mean, just I don't know when was it, but Virat Kohli's childhood coach, he spoke about this, right? कहीं पे तो I don't know if it was Virat Kohli's childhood coach or if it was the Delhi coach who spoke live, who spoke on it. Ki apparently just some time back, Virat Kohli was talking to him about how he intends on playing the India A games rather, and then score at least 2 to 3 tons, if not more, during the England tour. तो अभी एक महीना पहले अगर बंदे के दिमाग में ये सब चल रहा है, मैं मानने को रेडी नहीं हूँ कि भाई एक महीने के बाद वो खुद से अपने आप से वॉलंटरली जाके बोल रहा है कि भाई मेरा अभी हो गया क्रिकेट से. So clearly something's transpired, and I do think this break has had a role to play in it.
Yeah, next, let's just end with you because it's a very important point Akshay makes. If this suspension of the IPL didn't happen, maybe we could have seen different narratives. Maybe they could have had a couple of more days to think about it, or they were very well sure of what they wanted to do in terms of make their retirement calls, no matter when, but after the IPL, during the IPL, so on and so forth. So next, final words, and we'll wrap with you.
I have a conspiracy theory. There was a game just a while back where you could not see Virat smile and stuff and do anything. I think that is when the conversation happened, that this is what we are planning for England. Maybe this is the type of planning that we are saying, maybe we'll see a few games and then we'll take a call, because, Ashwin did not start in Australia. So they were like, we do not want to go down that route. And it's better that we go on our own terms rather than being pushed out. Again, I started by saying this is a conspiracy theory. So please don't hold me hostage for that. But eventually, if it's done, I don't think there's a way that they would U-turn. Okay, I'll consider and come back, because that's not going to happen. So I just hope whatever is said and done, now we are in a space where we'll back whoever plays, and then hopefully communication will always remain good from both ends.
Okay, well summed up, Nix, and brilliant from Akshay as well. It's been a very, very consumable Monday Night Live, episode 79. I know there is, of course, somber times going on all around us, and I wish peace and happiness and safety for everyone listening and watching. Thank you so much, Samit VK, Sanjay Papyagiri, Asim Hans, Apex, so many names which I'm not mentioned right now, but all you regular, loyal viewers of cricket.com, we can't thank you more. Plenty of content to come out. Like I said, Bat Ball Better drops tomorrow. There is an Office Vibes also, which is not the Office Vibes which we normally give you, but something to think about from a Virat perspective as well, and plenty of other short content which will be resumed. Only time will tell if the IPL does resume this week. If it does, we'll give you an really abrupt live if we can, but we will be giving you details on our website, on our social media handles. So follow us there for everything that you need. Akshay, next, thank you so much for your time. We'll leave it there. And honest to God, guys, it's a tough one to take. Virat Kohli's retirement, Rohit Sharma's retirement, but it is what it is. Test cricket moves on, life moves on, and so will we. Catch us next week. We'll see you then. Cheers.